Hey guys, Nishquick here. Hope you guys enjoyed the last video speculating the identities of House Cassini and Reed, but today we're speculating the identities of House Rhodes and Ortiz. This is the second part in my series speculating the identities and backstories of the founders hinted at in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, so be on the lookout for 2 more videos on this topic, and hopefully Nintendo doesn't drop a trailer for the Wave 4 DLC before I finish this series off. Anyways, let's discuss, speculate, and analyze who the founders of House Rhodes and Ortiz could be. Let's start with the identity of Mr. Ortiz over here. Here's the description of his statue in the city. In memory of the founder of House Ortiz and the city's liberator, a Kavesi soldier, this founder was released from the flame clock system by the other founders, and henceforth spent every last ounce of his energy for the cause to liberate the city as one of the first Ouroboros. With surpassing skill in mechanical engineering, the founder fought not with a blade, but with a weapon of his own fabrication. He was also responsible for laying the foundations of all the mechanical systems supporting the city to this day. Following the fight against Mobius, he poured the remainder of his days into rebuilding the city before finally perishing at the age of 80 years. Though, how he attained that feat despite his origins as a Kavesi soldier remains unexplained. So let's address the rot bart in the room first. Guys, this guy looks exactly like Shulk from Xenoblade 1. By that I mean he looks nearly identical to the model of Shulk we see in Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, in his height, stature, face, and his goggles even harken back to the Shulk that we knew. And we can see a notable difference in Ortiz's appearance to the statue of founder Reed's mentor, who is depicting a mature and grown-up Shulk, maybe in his 30s. The Shulk parallels don't stop there, since we also know from this statue's description that he's quite the mechanic who's responsible for the mechanisms and workings of the city's architecture and machinery. So what gives? Why is this guy so much like Shulk? I'll give 2 options here. One which I've heard from some fans and friends, and another which I personally feel is a little more likely. One reason is that he's a reincarnation or recreation of Xenoblade 1 Shulk by the mechanisms of origin, but reborn at the same age and mindset. I personally think it would be very confusing to see 2 Shulks in this story. On top of that, they would both be in the party, so it would be Shulk and Shulk unless they have different names. Overall, I'm not too big of a fan of this theory. My personal guess is this is still an origin recreation, and more importantly, a Kavesi soldier as seen in the description. A Homs boy, originally from the world of Bionis. But was he possibly originally the son of Shulk and Fiora in Bionis, now reborn as founder Ortiz within the world of Ionios? The son of Shulk and Fiora would most likely resemble his father and take up his interest and occupation as a nerdy mechanic. Also, Shulk is familiar with creating his own weapons like he did in Future Connected with his upgraded Monado. I can definitely see him passing down this skill to his son. Also, it would be pretty wholesome seeing Shulk save his own son from the clutches of the Flame Clock, and metaphorically and literally bringing him back home to the city. Alright. Now let's talk about Rhodes over here. Here's the description of her statue. A soldier of Agnes, this founder fought to the death against the founder of Ortiz, a soldier of Kevis, and was interrupted by a chance meeting with other founders. Freed from the bondage of her flame clock, she joined the fight against Mobius. Although a soldier, the founder is reported to have been exceedingly gentle and kind at heart. Additionally, her skill in the healing arts greatly contributed to the development of medical science in the city in later ages. And irrespective of starting life as an Agnian soldier, she is said to have surpassed 80 years of age, though the way she achieved that remains shrouded in mystery. Rhodes' identity is similar to Ortiz in terms of her relation to past Xenoblade characters. Rhodes resembles Numa a lot, especially her hair, so I personally think that she could be the daughter of Pyra or Mithra reborn within Ionios. So this would make her Rex's daughter too. not much else to say on this. This is definitely the character she resembles the most, but it would be interesting to see the color of her hair. That would allow us to officially land on the true answer of who her mother is. Red for Pyra and blonde for Mithra. Or maybe it's even green like Numa. I don't know, we'll see. Just like Ortiz, she's a soldier of Ionios, but Agnian instead of Kevesi. So this quest to liberate these two colonies where Ortiz and Reed come from could be sort of like a quest of two fathers, Shulk and Rex, to save their children from the clutches of Mobius and the Flameclocks. A really cool way to kick off the DLC story in my opinion. Also, before we move on, I just wanted to thank you all for all the support, likes, subscriptions, comments. It's been so much fun interacting with you guys and talking with you guys in the comments section. And I just wanted to remind you guys, if you enjoy content like this, how about you consider forming an interlink with that like button and that subscribe button. And also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more uploads about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and anything Nintendo and RPG related. Thank you so much for the support, and let's continue on with the rest of the video. But wait a minute, we're not done here. The true mystery of the founders of House Ortiz and Rhodes isn't really their identities, it's more so how they met and how their legacy impacts the people of the city. First of all, let's remember this quote from Rhodes' statue. A soldier of Agnes, this founder's fight to the death against the founder of Ortiz, a soldier of Kevis, was interrupted by a chance meeting with other founders. Freed from the bondage of her Flameclock, she joined the fight against Mobius. An Agnian soldier fighting a Kevesi soldier to the death. Sounds familiar. You guys predicting kind of a Noah and Mio relationship in connection with these guys? Rhodes' colony is locked in combat with Ortiz's colony. And similar to Noah and Mio when they first met, they're locked in a ferocious and intense fight to the death, until this era's version of Ouroboros break up the fight, taking the role of Guernica Van Dam. They make them see the true ways of the world and why their hatred towards each other, and this whole conflict is wrong. Of course they shatter the Flameclocks and liberate both colonies, freeing Ortiz and Rhodes from the bondage. And if they are the children of Shulk and Rex, we'd also have an emotional and heartfelt reunion on top of that as well. But honestly, I can see a lot of parallels to the meeting and initial relationship of Noah and Mio in the base game of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Let's keep this in mind as we continue on in the video. But the biggest mystery is, how did these guys live up to the age of 80 years old? We can see that even though they were residents of the city, N and M still had their 10-year lifespans. Even though they had the power of Ouroboros in a limited form, they still had Flameclocks and term markers to indicate their 10-year lifespan. Somehow later on in the future, after the establishment of the new city on Sword March, Ortiz and Rhodes got rid of this limiting factor, allowing the people of the city to live beyond the age of 20 and into their middle ages and beyond. So how did they do this? Rhodes is known to be a skillful healer, and she might have had some crazy Aegis/conduit powers like her mother. And Ortiz might have made some crazy machine contraption to extend lifespans or something, but I think these are too easy of explanations for this complex question. My guess was initially this: since Ortiz and Rhodes both have the secret to a long life in common, I have to ask, what else do they have in common? Well, remember how much they have in common with Noah and Mio. Well, what if these two were not only Kevesi and Agnian soldiers, but also Kevesi and Agnian Offseers? And what if these two were even the first Offseers? I don't know, it might be strange to see the Offseer concept to originate within the city, but what if somehow we find the true origin and beginnings of this practice? And not only does that allow for fallen soldiers to find peace, but what if it allows for some sort of unlocking of the bindings that Mobius has on the lives of the people in the city? But here's the big hole in this little theory I have. I recently went back to watch some of the cutscenes in Xenoblade 3, and the origins of Offseeing is sort of already explained, because you see an older version of Chris, a Chris that didn't mentor Noah and teach him the ways of Offseeing. You see this Chris stop one of his comrades from being killed by V. Console V wanted to do this so this individual gets sent back into the loop. But Chris says, how about you let him have his homecoming and let him be free? And how about I send him off in a very respectful way? V is totally against this, but of course M is like, hey, how about you do this? This is a very respectful way to send him off. And here's the most suspicious part of this. M makes sure to tell V, Zed approved of this. I'm paraphrasing here, but she did say Zed approved of this. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the origins of off-seeing are. Did it originate with Chris? Did it originate with Ortiz and Rhodes? Is Ortiz an older version of Chris? This is one of the biggest mysteries of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I've seen a lot of people question this, and not a lot of people get to the bottom of this mystery. So let me know in the comments below. Why do you think Ortiz and Rhodes lived past the age of 20 and into their middle ages and into the age of 80 years old? I want to know what your guys' theories are, because I'm stumped on this, honestly. And in hindsight, I don't think off-seeing is the reason for all of this. But anyways, that's my theory about House Ortiz and House Reed. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this in the comments below, especially with this whole question and mystery of how they lived to be so old and into their middle ages and beyond into old age as well. And what do you think the identities of these founders are? Are they the sons of Shulk, Fiora, and Rex, and Pyra and Mithra? Or entirely new characters that we've never seen before? Let me know in the comments below. And be on the lookout for more videos about Xenoblade Chronicles 3's Wave 4 DLC on the road to its release. I got 2 more videos speculating the identities of the rest of the founders, and hopefully Nintendo doesn't release a new trailer to get in the way of that. Anyways, this is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day, and go play some great games today, like Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.